Welcome back. In this video, we're going to create pickups because when you drop into the Battle Royale game, when you fly in from the plane, you need to find a gun, and to find guns, we need to make gun pickups that the player can take. So we'll be adding those in this video. Now, I'm going to comment some of these in my character as well because I forgot to do that. So let's just do this really quick. Handle player taking any damage. Handle being killed by a player. Handle reload animation. So just add that really quickly. Now, the way we're going to do it is we're going to have a pickup master class. Then we're going to have a weapon pickup master class. And then we're going to have the ammo and health classes. And we're going to make it so if you're taking health or ammo, you don't have to press any button to pick it up. But for the weapons, we're going to make it so you have to press E to pick the gun up. So let's just do this now. I'm going to go to Edit, go to Project Settings, Input, and I want to add a action mapping. So we've got one for jumping, one for firing a gun, and this one that we don't use anymore. In fact, let's click X to remove that. And I'm going to add an action mapping. And we'll call this Take Weapon. Now I'm going to type in E and select the option E. So pressing the E key will call this Take Weapon mapping. In my blueprints folder, I'm going to make a new a new folder here, and I'm going to call this Pickups. So we need to make a blueprint class. We're going to make this an actor, and we're going to call this one BP underscore pickup. So this is our base master class. We did the exact same thing for the weapons. We're going to do the same thing for the pickups. And then we're going to create a child, BP underscore weapon pickup. And then we'll make two more children here, BP underscore ammo pickup. And finally, we're going to make a BP underscore health pickup. And the last thing we'll do in this little bit here is we're going to go back into our character, and we're just going to implement that new action mapping we made. So if you just type take weapon, you can see it comes up already. And taking a pickup is, again, pretty gameplay important. You wouldn't want players to be able to cheat the system on that sort of thing. So we're going to go ahead and right click and make a new custom event. And we're going to call this server take weapon. So on the server, this is going to be called. So we need to make sure that it is run on server and reliable. And we'll just drag up from pressed and type in server take weapon. So that is all done. And then just like we store our character's current weapon, we're going to store our character's current pickup that they are near. So we can just duplicate this. And I'm going to call this current pickup. So if we're next to a pickup, we're going to set current pickup. And under variable type, make sure that it is a BP pickup. And I'm going to put this in a completely different... I'll put this under my character. And then we can compile and save. Okay, so we're going to set up some of the functionality for our pickup base class. So because this is the master class for weapon, ammo, and health pickups, we need to be thinking about the things that all of those will have in common. So what will the weapon, ammo, and health pickups have in common? Well, the first thing is they're all going to need the same components. So we're going to add a component here, and we're going to add a sphere collision. And the reason we want a sphere collision, and also drag and drop this onto the default scene because we don't need that anymore. We can get rid of it. The reason we need that sphere is because we need to detect when the player is near the pickup, because we're going to make it so that you press E to take the weapon or whatever. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to adjust the size of the sphere a little bit. I'm going to make the sphere 60 in radius. And we'll come down here and I'm going to make it simulate physics so that when a player drops a weapon or health or whatever happens, we want it to fall to the ground. We don't want pickups to hover. That's really important. And we're also going to set the linear damping value to be, say, 2. That'll just make it fall in a manner that's a little bit more nice. And because we want it to start or stop simulating physics when it hits the ground, we need to turn this on. So hit events. And we're also going to modify the collision presets a little bit just so that the character can interact with it. So we're just going to set this to be custom. And we'll make these overlap just so that the character can overlap the pickup. Okay, so once we've done this, I'm going to rename this as well to pickup sphere, just so it's a little more obvious that it's the pickup sphere that we need to be inside to take it. And the other thing that all pickups are going to have in common is they're all going to have a mesh. So let's go ahead and add a static mesh. I'm going to call this pickup mesh. And we don't have to set this to anything right now. And now we'll start to make some of the functionality. Now, one thing that I want the pickup to do is I actually just want it to spin around, because this is kind of a nice look. I don't know if you've ever played a game where you have to collect coins or some sort of item, but oftentimes the item will be spinning around, and it's just kind of a nice look for pickups, and it makes them more obvious that they are pickups as well. And it's very easy to do this. So what we'll do is we'll take the pickup mesh, we're going to set the relative rotation of that, and we're going to make a rotator. Sorry, we want to use add relative rotation. And we're going to add by using make rotator. And delta seconds is the amount of time that's passed since the last frame was drawn to the screen. And if we multiply that value by 180, that will mean that the gun will spin once every 2 seconds. If you were to do 360, that would be 1 second, and so on. So we're going to feed that into the yaw value. And then from there, let's see. So we'll also make sure that we are keeping the pickup from sort of rolling around. Because what's going to happen is if we simulate the sphere is going to roll around, but no matter how much the sphere rolls around, we want the pickup mesh to always be upright. So even if it's rolling down a hill or something, we don't see the mesh roll as well. This part just rolls the sphere. So to fix that, it's very easy to do. We can just get the rotation and then break that up, and then just get rid of the yaw, the roll and the pitch values, and just take the yaw only, because the yaw is the spinning component, and make a rotator like this. And then from there, what we can do is take our pickup mesh and then set the world rotation. We're going to plug that in there, and then we're going to make sure that's connected up. So I'll just comment this to explain what it's doing. So make pickup mesh spin and dispose of roll/pitch components. Now, a couple of things that we want to do in our pickup is we need to detect when someone has entered the pickup sphere. So I'm going to make a couple of events for this. So let's make some custom events. One of them is going to be called pickup sphere entered, and it needs to have the character that entered the sphere. So just we'll call that character. And we're going to make another event called pickup sphere left, aka the person left the pickup sphere, and we'll go ahead and call that character as well. So who left the pickup sphere? And the way that we're going to detect if the player went into the sphere is if I click on the pickup sphere and scroll right down to the bottom, there are a bunch of events that we can implement for this sphere. So we can check when the sphere hit something, we can check when the sphere began overlapping with something else. aka did the player overlap with the sphere, and that's how we're going to check, by the way. And there are some other things that we can do with this as well. We are just worried about the top 3 ones here. So I'm going to click add. I'm going to add the second one as well. And I'm going to add the third one. So we want to check when the sphere hits something, when it begins overlapping with a player, and when it ends overlapping with a player. So what we're going to do is we're going to see if was the thing that went into the pickup sphere a player, and we can use a cast to check if the thing was a player that entered. And if it was, then we entered the pickup sphere. So call the pickup sphere entered event. And we can just copy and paste that. It's the exact same thing for leaving, except pickup sphere left, like so. And that way, in our children pickups, we have a really easy way of detecting whether we have entered or left the pickup sphere. So that's all well and good. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to, let's see here. Oh yeah, we need to make sure that when the pickup hits the ground, we stop simulating physics. Because once it hits the ground, we can save on processing power by making sure it's not rolling around. And because it's a ball, we really don't want it to be rolling around the ground anyway. We just want it to hit the ground. So if we go to onComponentHit and take the pickup sphere, and then just drag off and set simulate physics to false. So we're no longer simulating physics, and that'll turn the physics off once the pickup hits the ground. Because otherwise it'll just be rolling all over the place, and yeah, we don't want that to be happening. One thing that I actually forgot to do, I believe, so you actually have to turn replication on for actors manually. So stuff doesn't automatically show up in the game for other players. You actually need to turn it on. And I think one issue is I don't have it turned on for my weapons. So come into BP weapon here, and where it says replicates, make sure you turn that on. If you don't do that, other people won't know how much ammo you have in the gun and things like that, and it's just going to break down the game later on. We really need to make sure that replicates. And also for the pickups, if we go to BP pickup and make sure that that's set to replicate. This is because some things don't need to replicate, so we really want to be able to toggle that. But for the things that do need to replicate and show up for other people, you really need to make sure that that's checked. One more thing that I forgot to do is under the collision presets, make sure that under the collision enabled option, you select collision enabled query and physics. And on the pickup mesh, we're going to go to the collision presets, and we want to make sure that this has no collision on it, so that we're not getting any issues with colliding physics or anything like that. Now, when we drag and drop the pickup into the level, we can actually test this and make sure it works. So go ahead and click on the pickup mesh here, and under the pickup mesh, you can select, for example, the sniper rifle pickup. Oh, that's not the right one. Let's see if we can find something better. Let's just use the rock. There should be an option called rock, and if you press play, you can see how pickup falls to the ground. That pickup's way too big though. We'll get a better example here. Let's click on pickup mesh, and we'll just go with a cube. So as you can see, our pickup falls to the ground, ready to be taken by the player. So this is exactly the right base that we need moving forward. Let's start by implementing the health pickup, since I think that's probably going to be the easiest one to implement. We'll go ahead and open up the BP health pickup and open the full blueprint editor, and we need to select a mesh for our health pickup. I'm going to go ahead and type in health and select the SM health pickup that we imported into the project at the start of the series. And the problem is it's really tiny, but if you go to the scale, you can simply just set the scale to be 10. This will make sure that you can actually see it in the game. You could even try a higher value if you wanted, but I'm going to leave it at that. And if we go to view options, I'm going to enable show engine content. And there's one called opaque master, instead of just making my own shader, I'm just going to go ahead and use this one. It's a pretty basic one that'll just give our health sort of a nice pinkish color. So if we go ahead and compile that and then save it, that's pretty much ready to be used. The only thing we need to do now is make sure that this actually gives our player health when we collect it. So what we'll do is we'll come into the event graph here and right click, and you remember that we made this thing called onPickupSphere_entered. We can now implement that event because we made it in the BP Pickup Master class. So if you go ahead and click on that, so that's going to call the event. We actually want to implement it. So let's type PickupSphere_entered. So there's two options, add event or call function. We want to do the add event one. So when we enter the pickup sphere, we want to only do this on the server because remember, only the server should be adding health to the player. And what we want to do is we want to use the health pickup, but if you have full health already, then we don't want to use it. So to check if the player has full health already, we're going to get the health from the player, like so. And we're just going to make sure that the health is less than the starting health, or I believe it's called max health. Yeah, get max health. So as long as the player's health is less than max health, remember the player can have a maximum of 150 health points. So we won't let them have any more than that. So if it goes above max health, if it's less than max health, then we'll add the health. Otherwise we don't want to do anything. So to give health to the player, you remember all we have to do is just drag out and type modify health, because we made that modify health event earlier and we were previously using that to deal damage to the player, but it can be used just as easily to actually heal the player as well. This is also a little bit messy. You'll notice this wire sort of cuts through these two nodes. A real nice way to get around this is we'll just drag out and then add a reroute node. So drag out again and add a reroute node and then connect that like that. I'm going to hold Alt and just disconnect that, just so we have that one going in like that. And now it's just a little more easy to read. So I'd recommend using those reroute nodes when needed. For the health pickup, I'm also going to make a variable that just stores the amount of health that the pickup should give you. I'm going to make it so that the health pickup gives you 50 health. So at the start of the game, you're going to have 100 health. And if you manage to find one of these pickups, then you'll be at a really nice advantage because you'll then have 150 health. So let's go to the variables and we'll call this health to give. aka how much health should we give to the player. And this needs to be a float value. Hit compile, and then we're going to change this value to 50 so that the health pickup gives you 50 health. And because modify health will take health off the player, to add health to the player, we just need to multiply it by -1. So this will make it turn into -50 instead of +50, basically. And that way it will actually give health to the player instead of taking it away. And then once we've healed the player, we need to actually get rid of the pickup and destroy it from the world. To destroy it, you simply drag out and type destroy actor. And because this is replicated, a really cool thing about this is actors have replication built into them. Because I have this replicates box checked, just like we did before, if the server, you remember we're on the server, if the server destroys this actor, since it's replicated, that destruction will show up to other players, so people will actually see the health pickup get removed from the game. And let's make sure this is working as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag off the player, and I'm going to get their new health, since we've given health to the player now. And let's just hold Alt and disconnect this. And we're going to drag out, and I'm just going to say print string, and we'll just connect the health up so that it's going to show us the new amount of health that we have after taking the health pickup. So let's drag and drop our health pickup into the level. You can see here it is here. And I'm just going to play in the viewport. And here's the health pickup. So I'm going to run and collect the health pickup. And one problem's happening here. It's blocking me. I can't actually overlap with it because of the collision presets. So that's kind of funny. There's no way I can take this. Let's Let's go back to our BP pickup and let's figure out why this is happening. So we'll need to click on sphere, and under the collision options, we'll be able to figure out why this is happening. You'll have to bear with me because I'm kind of figuring this out on the fly here. Let's try setting this to world dynamic, and let's also overlap with pawns. Yeah, so we'll just overlap with these things so that and we'll keep it set to block here, and because our player is a pawn, if we have overlap, our player will now be able to overlap with this. Okay, there we go. So now it's healed us. And you can see that number came up in the top corner, 150. That's the new amount of health that we have. So check this out, 150. And when you make a new feature, it's always a really good idea to make sure that it's working on both the server and any clients that are connected in the game. So we'll go ahead and try it on a client as well. And you can see that it says 150. So that's really cool. We now have health pickups in the game, and now we just need to add weapon and ammo pickups. Okay, so in the next video, we'll do weapon pickups because it's a little bit more complicated. We need to pick the weapon up, give it to the player, and if you already have a weapon, we'll have to drop it and some other sort of complicated stuff. So what we'll do is we'll implement the ammo pickup, and then we'll do weapons in the next part because the pickups are a two-part series because they just take a little bit longer to do. So I'm going to open up the full blueprint editor inside of my ammo pickup blueprint, and I'm going to come down here and right click and just do pickup sphere entered, just like I did last time. And again, ammo, you know, it's pretty gameplay sensitive, so I'm sure you've already realized by now we need to make sure that we're on the server. And we also need to make sure we're holding a weapon, right? Because if we are not holding a weapon and we run over some ammo, we don't want to pick it up because that doesn't make any sense. So what we need to do is we need to get the player's weapon, and we need to make sure that they have a weapon, and we can do that by checking is valid. And if we do have a weapon, this pin will execute the is valid, and if we don't have a weapon, this pin will execute instead. So if we do have a weapon, now we can use that really handy function called give ammo. You remember we previously made the give ammo event, this one here, but we didn't actually do anything with it. Well, now that's coming into use, so we can use that to give the weapon some ammo. And the amount of ammo to give, we're going to make that a variable. You can just right click on this and click promote to variable, and we're going to go ahead and type ammo to give. And by default, let's say that a ammo pickup should give you 20 bullets of ammo. So we'll click on ammo to give, or we can click on it here as well, and just type in 20 and then hit compile save. And once we've given ammo to the player, we want to get rid of the pickup, so it's the exact same thing as last time. We just need to make sure that we're destroying the actor. And let's go ahead and see if this pickup works. So what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to do something called a print text. And print text is a really good way to just display some information when we're testing out our game. And I'm going to use something called format text to make it look kind of nice. That's all format text does. It's just for formatting text so it looks nice. And I'll show you how this works. So what we'll do is we'll say our spare ammo is, and then I'll type curly brackets, and then inside I'm going to do spare ammo like that. And now it's asking for this value of spare ammo. So just drag off here and get current spare ammo, and then connect that in there. So what that's now going to do is it's going to print out the amount of ammo that we have spare. Now here's where things get really cool. Once we've added ammo to our gun, I'll hold Alt and just click to get rid of this. Once we've added ammo to the gun, we can copy and paste this. But I'm just going to change the text up a little bit so it says our spare ammo is. I'm going to say our spare ammo after taking the pickup is, and then I need to connect this up again. So get current spare ammo and plug that in like that. So now we'll see how much ammo we had before picking up the pickup and after as well. And that's really important, just so that we can test that this works. It's really important that we test this stuff along the way, because, you know, it would suck to have the game finished and then realize, oh no, ammo doesn't work. Oh, one more thing is you can't see your ammo in the world. We need to give it a mesh. So we're going to click on pickup mesh, go to the static mesh and type in ammo, and then select the SM ammo, and you can see it's a little bit small. We'll just scale it up 10, 10, 10. And you'll need to give it some sort of shader, otherwise it's just going to be white. So again, we're just going to do a similar thing to last time. If you type in opacity, simple master, and that'll just make it a nice green color. So this is just like a shader that already exists within the engine, because we're too lazy to make our own one, basically. At some point we will actually make a shader, but for now with these pickups I don't want to do that yet. But we will make one for the storm, the safe zone. So let's go ahead and hit play and jump into the game. You can see here's our ammo pickup, so I'm going to run over it. So our spare ammo is 100, our spare ammo after taking the pickup is 120. So you can see that totally worked and the values look good. So with that done, I'm going to go back into my ammo pickup and I'm just going to get rid of this print text because I know this works now and I don't need to do any more testing on it. So yep, we're gonna just go in here, just connect that up, and there we go. So that's the health and ammo pickups completely done. They're totally game ready. And now we just need to do the weapon pickups, and then we're going to wrap it all up by doing a pickup spawner. And this is going to be a really cool piece of gameplay that will randomly spawn guns all over the map, so that you have to go and search for them when you land in the level. And one more thing, let's just do this kind of for fun. So when you start in a Battle Royale game, you start on the starter island and then you fly into the map. So let's click on the floor like this and hit Control C and then hit Control V to copy paste. And we're just going to move this over here. And let's move the text as well. We're going to hit Control C. And then you can change this text to just say starter island. Because we're going to use this in a second. The players are going to spawn into the starter island. And then once the plane comes in, they're going to drop into the big map. And we'll replace this map later on with a much nicer looking map as well. But for now, we just want to make a little starter island as well. So anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video where we will be making the weapon pickups. See you there.